Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Bravo's workshop. You would have just seen the last video where we finished off the sub, and we are about to do a new build. The new build being the HMS Hood versus Bismarck. We will be doing the hood first, and the hood will be a painted floor, not a timber floor, and same with the Bismarck. And I will be doing this box kit with young people in mind or new people who want to start out with the building and just want a nice easy kit to start off with. This kit is a little smaller than what I'm used to, and I think it'll turn out okay. So that is the Bismarck versus Hood. And just while we're here, I did mention last time that I was waiting for flooring to come, and the flooring has come, and this flooring is for the HMS Belfast. So there is the flooring for the HMS Belfast, and if the ship comes in time, we'll probably start this ship. Looking forward to doing it actually, and if it doesn't, we'll have to do something else. But that's our intro to the new build, the HMS Hood. I hope you enjoy this build. It's not a very long one. I do believe the hood is 8 or 10 days, and the other one's just a fraction longer. So there it is, there's the box, and we'll come in also at the end of it, and we'll put the two ships together and we'll see how we went. Did we mess it up? Did we not mess it up? So let's get on with the build. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Mr. Bravo's workshop. Hope you're all well. Well, here we are about to start another brand new build. We've already done the box opening. We've already done the instructions on the internet so you can have a look. Now we're going to start the build. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the hood first. So I think what I will do is first of all work out which one is the hood and which one is the Bismarck in the bag section. Now when I did the box opening, I pretty much called this packet the Bismarck, but then when I re-watched it on the big TV, I'm thinking to myself, no, I actually think this is the hood. And I do think it's a hood. Let me just work that out for a second. And here is why I came to that conclusion, because as I was watching, I'm like, oh, hang on, this has all the separate floors, same as this, and this is why I actually believe that this is the hood and not the Bismarck. So now we've got the right bag set, let's crack it open. Now I was thinking just before that I never actually started the HMS Queen Elizabeth with the hull. I sort of started it just maybe a day or so after I'd already started it, and I didn't record it, so I could not add it. That's why I picked up the video from where I started. Now, I had a plan all along to build that ship exactly the way I built it, which was in pieces and do the camouflage as I go. And I think this is very important, is you've got to have a direction which way you're headed. So what I'm going to do is this one here, I'm going to paint the floors. I did consider ordering a floor, but they wanted $30 each for each floor, and I'm like, there's no floor on this. It was ridiculous. So I painted some before, such as this one here, and it came out quite nice. So yeah. So the plan on this one here is we're pretty much going to build this one, and I'm going to spray this, but I'm going to spray it completely different to what I did with the last build, the last ship build, which was the HMS Queen Elizabeth. So what I'll do, we'll get these out, we'll get cracking on with it. It does appear that there's one piece on here, one piece on here, and obviously this section here for doing the water level stuff. So there's our bits and pieces. We'll get them all cleaned up. Ooh, look at that. That is a bit messed up. Is it meant to be like that? Well, that's really messed up. Well, the other side's the same. Check that out. It's like they smudged it out after it came out the moulding or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's okay. So there's our pieces off and cleaned up. Let's have a look and see how they fit. Wow, not the best of fit. My goodness, maybe. It's not the best of fit when you push this one together. It doesn't want to really stay. Oh, yeah, it doesn't really want to stay together. I mean, if I squeeze the back, it wants to open the front. If I squeeze the front, it wants to open to the back. So the best way to do this is probably do one side like that and then glue it up. So once that one's gone off, and then you can grab this one and put this one together, and I think that's the best way of handling this one. And I'm going into more detail on this just in case there's any young kids that want to build this kit and, you know, who need a little bit of following. So I'm going to show every step of this ship. So what we're going to do is, while it's just sort of laying there, we're just going to pinch these two slightly together, and then we're just going to run the brush just roughly in between it. It'll save the wicking, like it'll wick on its own. And then just to start that off, we'll squeeze that in. Just like that. So now that's together, what we'll do, we get our brush, we'll put it in between and we'll wick it again and pulling the brush up as we do it. Just in case, we'll go on it again, all the way through, and then we'll squeeze that other end together, and holding it flat at the same time on the bench. So about another minute now has passed. I'm pretty happy the way that's coming together, so we'll get the glue, and the same again, we'll just wick it inside and pulling the brush up as we come closer to the edge. Just in case you're not sure, because it is a hull, we'll redo it again, and don't forget the other side there, because this will be our final glue for this bit, and join it together. So join it together, just concentrate on both edges. That's it. It does want to collapse in the middle, and I'd say just work with it. Yeah. Just like that. Now, while it's going off, I had noticed that the center is a little pliable. So what we're going to do is, we're now just going to flood the bottom of the floor on that joint all the way through. Plenty of glue, don't be afraid to use any, and go all the way across that whole line again. And then just double check and make sure it's all together exactly the way that you want it. Now you can place it on the ground or on the bench, push them both together, and double check your line to make sure that not one edge is higher than the other. So that's pretty good there right at the moment. So we'll just wait for that to go off. So at this stage, because this glue is a little pliable for at least 15 minutes, I'm going to walk away and have a coffee and just let it go off. Okay, now we've had quite a lot of time. As you can see, 20 minutes has now passed. That's one of the reasons I have that here. I also went across and hit it again because I don't think you can have too much glue on the inside of these. So it's well and truly gone off, and it does have a little bit of spring in it, but that's okay. Now, while I was at it, I cleaned this up and I located it, and there's actually not a very good locating point on this. And if you're a kid and you're wondering, how do I fit this on? I think this is what I came up with. I would glue 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs first, and probably with the Revel stuff, just to get it down and get it located. And then after you located it, like you need to put it down roughly first. And then basically you need to slide the ship either backwards or forwards to match the front and then the rear exactly. And this is why I'm thinking the Revel glue would be best, because it'll buy you 5 minutes. And then once you got those tabs centered, then center the ship this way. And then afterwards we can go along with the other glue and glue it with the extra thin on the seam. And you can glue it from the outside, it won't matter. We'll just sand it off. So that's what I'll do. So I got my Revel glue out, put one dob there, one dob there, one little one there, and one little one on there. Just like I explained. Just make sure, yeah, there's got plenty on it. Okay, so now we'll flip it around. Now as you put this down, you want to kind of get it very close to the front anyway. You can even put it down like that. Drop it down. Kind of find your little locating points and just work the front of the ship. You're not worried about it being stuck down. You just want to locate it for the time being. There. Let's double check the rear. Can probably go a fraction more to the front. Let's double check the front. Not sure if I got glue on my fingers then. Gee, it's very close. Just running my finger up and down trying to feel the front. It could probably go just a fraction back. Yeah, not bad. And again, now we'll double check the hull this way. That's not bad. This side, it has popped out a little bit, so we'll just fix that up as well. Nudge that in. Not worried about a little bit of glue coming out. So that's one locating point. There's the other. So we'll just hold that for a few minutes, let it set off. Pretty happy with the front. Yeah, no, pretty happy with it. Like I said, you'll get 5 minutes of mucking around time with that glue. Just making sure they're not popping in or out. Pretty good that way. Let's have a look at the other way. And this is going to cause a bit of an issue because when I pop one side in, the other side wants to pop out. So we've got to kind of do them both. And this is why I said not to glue the whole lot. So we'll just hold those in position while it goes off, and I'll come back. So just as it's about to go off, just to sort of help it set this side, because this stuff goes off very quick, I'm just going to work one side and just hold it there for a second, because that'll set that off, this side properly. Yeah, that's pretty good. I've already done this bit. Turn it back around. As you can see, this one wanted to pop out again. So we'll work this edge here. Just here, I've seen it wick in there. Hold this edge in. That's it. It shouldn't take long to get set off. Making sure it's nice and level. Yeah, that's level. Not quite yet. I will cut this video just a little bit. So that one's just about set. Yep. Now we'll do the other side. We'll go just inside of that one. Again, I've seen it wick. That's okay. So now we'll do this one. And because we're only really worried about 4 spots, we don't have to worry about anything else. We already know it's right at the nose and right at the rear. So we're just worrying about these 4 spots right now. That's it, that's nice. And then we can come along after with a little bit of glue, and then we'll just give it a small sand. Should sand it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's double check the other side while we're at it. How did he go? Not bad. Pretty happy with that one. We'll come back to that one. We'll just concentrate on this side first. So what we'll do, we'll get some more glue. We'll wick it in here. Just to set that edge off. And you almost want it to look like there was no seam at all. So now glue points was 1, 2, so I'm just really worried about what's inside of here. And I'll worry about the other side of that later. So just double checking it while it's going off. Once you've got it this side correct, just sort of let it go, let it go off, double check it. Just use your nail or something just to make sure it's roughly in line. That's pretty good. But I've said this a few times, this glue is still quite pliable even after it's gone off, that you can still bend it around. So this is why you sort of need to hang on to it for a little bit. Pretty happy with that centerpiece there. Looks like it's going well. Now we'll flip it around, double check it. Easy boat to flip around, this one. So it's still got some pliability to it, which is why we're using that one. So now we're going to glue all of this one, all of that joint, just the center bit. I'm kind of pushing down a little bit too, and then basically making sure they're all joined together in the center. So you'll just need to work this a little bit a couple of times, and even if you get it wrong, just add a bit more glue because it'll soften it back up and it'll buy you a bit more time, just in case you're like, oh man, I messed it up. We can add a little more there. There you go. Look quite nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll just hold it there for a few minutes, wait for it to go off. Pretty happy just here. It's just this last little bit. Like I said, if you're not happy, just re-glue it. It'll loosen it up. There we go. That was over our original glue. Let's let go, see what it does. This ship is kind of wants to bow, which is kind of why it keeps pushing it out. So we know the hull is joined, like the center hull. And the better you do the job here, well, I suppose the better it's going to look and less sanding you'll have to do. So this is probably worthwhile spending an extra few minutes on it. I think we're just going to have to leave that one in, just while it sets off. So we've probably spent a good 12 minutes so far, just gluing just this section just here. And really sort of working it and, you know, turning it around and just re-gluing it to soften it back up and get it correct. We'll do the other side. Yeah, that's going off quite nicely as well. So before I would do anything else, I would probably wait another 15 minutes for this to really go off. Because like I said, it's quite pliable. And the last thing you want to do is be mucking around with this and then interrupting this. So we'll let that go off. So it's 8:32 now. We'll give it a good 15 minutes. Okay, it's not quite 15 minutes, but it does feel like it's definitely gone right off now. There's no real movement in between those two spots at all, and it looks really good that way. And this is why we waited, because it's split up here, and it's quite split down. Let's see if I can see that one on there. Yeah, it's split down the back here, and there's too much to worry about doing the whole lot. So we just do in between those two sections there. Not bad. Let's roll it over. Yeah, they're pretty good too. It'll need some sanding anyway, so don't worry about that. Now, what we'll do is we'll do one side of this at a time. And again, working the edge just like that after we glue it. So we're going to now glue from there to there and work this edge, because this is quite flexible. It wants to go in, it wants to go out. So just work it together. So while I got you there, let's glue that line. It'll wick most of the way in there anyway, and then where it opens right up, stick the brush in there. And it'll catch one of the edges. That's it. So now we'll close that edge. And again, we'll concentrate on that edge, getting it correct. It shouldn't take too long to go off. And again, we're only concentrating on one side. You kind of want to feel that lip. If you can feel that lip, nudge it in. So see that now? No lip. If you need to pull it up a little bit, which I'm doing there right now, I'm just pulling it forward. Not worried at all about the other side of the ship. Just worried about this side and this section here. So that looks pretty good. So we'll let that go off. So it's been a good few minutes now that that's gone off, and it really is pretty. It's gone right off. It's quite hard now. So now we'll turn the ship around, working on the same side. We'll do the same with the back end, which, yep, there you go, it'll close up. So now we want to go from that point back to here. And again, we're not worried about the other side. So we'll just glue that. It should wick. That's it. It's starting to wick there now. We'll get that all the way in. That's it. All the way to the end of the ship. Just like that. Now we'll close it up. Work that line just a little bit. There's a little bit of excess there. Just rub that off. You want to rub it off quick, because you don't want to leave your fingers on it, because you'll leave a fingerprint mark. Now I've just got to work that rear end. The hull was a bit lower, so I've got to kind of push the top and drag that up just to match it. That's it. Nice. That's it. Beautiful. That's really nice, actually. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we'll let that go off. So it's been quite a few minutes now. It's gone right off. There's no real movement in that at all now. Now, I just want to say, if you're not completely happy at this stage, just re-glue it. It'll soften it back up, and just remove whatever part you're not happy with. So right now, that side is done. This side should be a whole lot easier now, because there's no real gaps. There's a slight gap here, just where that joint is, but that just needs gluing and squashing down. Apart from that, it's almost exactly where we need it to go. So let's glue that on that same line. It is trying to wick its way in. That's all right, I don't mind that. all the way to the end, just like that. Really not much is required there except just a little bit of pressure. We will adjust it in and out. As you can see, it can be moved, but pretty happy with that overall. So that's not going to take long at all to go off. Again, we're just going to work that edge. Just really using my nail there. The top bit just needs to come in just a fraction. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And again, before I move on to the last section, we'll just leave that. Not much is required there to mess with it, and we'll come back. So again, that's had quite a fair bit of time to go off, and it didn't really need much adjusting anyway. So let's flip that back around, and we've got our last line here to sort out. There it is there, a bit of a gap. So again, we'll go from our glue point just sort of sliding my hand on the base of the mat here. That's it. Yep. And all the way to the end. Just like that. Just close her up. Again, feeling that it needs to be pushed in or out, only because it's soft plastic. It does need to go slightly a little bit in. A little bit in and a little bit down. So we'll just use the bench to help hold it. That's it. A bit more force on this one. So what I'll do is I'll hold this for the next few minutes and come back. So there we have that together. Now what we're going to do, I had to re-glue this like a couple of times and just re-nudge it and then nudge it back up. And just sort of really worked it. It's exactly where I want it for now. But it is 8:58 and we'll let that dry off for at least 20 minutes. Okay, that went for a little bit longer than I expected. My my vacuum cleaner had started and was quite noisy. So what we have now is all the plastics have now gone right off. So what we need to do now is you can either use your stick to sand all these pieces, or I like to use rounded paper, especially on the rounded edges. I can just get my way in. You can do this dry, you can do it wet. I'd probably do a little bit dry and then just finish it off wet. So yeah, that's pretty much where our hull is. And you can go away and sand that whenever you're ready, just like I will. So that's our episode for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a brand new episode, and this is more so for the kids who want to know how to put this one together. I mean, you're more than welcome to watch as well, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to paint this one a little differently than the last one. No flaws going in this one. I'm going to do something a little different as well. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.